What's going on, everybody? Good afternoon. We've got injury reports. Injury reports are finally here for both teams. Took a while for the Seahawks to get theirs out. Dolphins have had theirs up for a little bit, and we got a lot to get through in this video. We've got a lot going on with these injury reports. So first, before I get into any of the details, I want to thank BetUS for powering this injury report video. And yeah, we've got some work to do, guys. So let's go ahead and just get started with some of the major notes on the Seattle Seahawks, and it's big. Let's just be real here. This isn't what you want to see. Now it is Wednesday. It's not a big deal yet, and I'm very confident that most of this stuff is going to ultimately not really matter that much. But for the moment, it does matter. And until we see these guys actually practice and see these guys play and see these guys look fine, we got to at least be a little bit worried about it. So, Brady Henderson with the latest. Let's just go ahead and zoom in on the big picture here as much as we can, since this is the stuff you really care about. We've got a long did not participate list. So, Ken Walker not practicing. That's not surprising. So, let's get that one out of the way. Clearly, the oblique injury has been more significant than I expected because I really didn't think it was much, and it's clearly affected him in a pretty negative way. So, when asked if Walker would practice this week, McDonald was non-committal, and he's non-committal about pretty much everything injury-related, realistically. But I don't know. This is not sounding great for him. Wouldn't shock me if we don't see him this week at this point. And then you got Laken Tomlinson. He's not injured. He's just resting, which get used to that, by the way. He's been in the league so long, he might not practice on very many Wednesdays this season at all. So we got that going on. If you jump down a little bit, you've also got Jerome Baker not practicing with the hamstring. That really shouldn't surprise anybody. Missed a lot of that game. Uchenna Nwosu not practicing with the knee injury. Shouldn't surprise anybody because he's missed the first two games already. We'll see if we get him back this week. I'm not super optimistic. And then you had Boye Mafe not practicing. We know he had a little bit of a contusion or bruise against the Patriots. So him missing the first practice after that game is not terribly surprising. But that is kind of the stuff that I think we came into this injury report kind of expecting, right? Those things should not really surprise any of us. Those things should not really concern us. It's these other ones that are, well, let's we're going to go through it. We're going to talk about it. But first, I want to tell you guys about BetUS. So, BetUS is the internet's best online sportsbook and casino. You can go over there right now and get the Seahawks minus 4.5 points against the Miami Dolphins. The Miami Dolphins flying 3,000 plus miles to get into Seattle, playing a game with their backup quarterback, might not have their left tackle, missing some guys on defense as well, missing Odell Beckham Jr. Do you really think they're covering 4.5? Do you really think they're going to get the points there? I don't think so. And if you don't think so either, you can go over to BetUS, throw down a wager. Seahawks minus 4.5 is right there in front of you. Get it down before the game kicks off on September 22nd, this upcoming Sunday. And right now, BetUS is offering a very nice deal. It's called free money, people. Use the promo code YouTube150. That is YouTube150. BetUS will give you a 150% deposit bonus on your first deposit up to $2,000. And then you will also get a 125% deposit bonus on your second and third deposits up to $2,000. So go over to BetUS, check them out, throw down some wagers, get some free money. Always gamble responsibly. Thank you to BetUS for sponsoring the video. Okay, so back to the injury report here, looking at the four guys who we weren't necessarily expecting to see here. You've got Brady Russell, shoulder injury, and that wouldn't be the end of the world if only for the fact that Pharaoh Brown should be back this week. But Brady Russell's playing a little bit, so I don't know where he got hurt or when he got hurt, but probably by tomorrow we'll find out that it was kind of a nothing burger. And then you've got three more guys down here worth keeping an eye on here. Kayvon Wallace, shoulder injury. He played a little bit in that New England game. I didn't see him get hurt. Wasn't expecting to see him here. And Kayvon Wallace is a veteran, but he's not that kind of veteran, right? He's not 30 plus years old. So he shouldn't be getting a day off just for the sake of it. So something's up. And then you got Leonard Williams, who played a remarkable game against New England with the knee injury here. I didn't see him get hurt. To my knowledge, he was in the game at the very end. So don't really know what's going on here, but that would be a monster loss. I don't get the sense it's anything too significant, though. And then you got DK Metcalf not practicing with some kind of hand injury. And again, my knowledge, he was in the game in overtime, so it didn't keep him out. But again, I'm not really seeing anything here that makes me think he's going to miss time. We'll find out more tomorrow, but so far, I mean, we're not thrilled with this, right? This isn't exactly getting us super enthused. Okay, now we go to the limited participation list, and I do have some good news. I got some real good news, actually. Pharaoh Brown, limited participation. If that holds up, he should be back. So we're getting Pharaoh Brown back in all likelihood this week. If he can hold up and at least partially participate in practice, I think we're good. Good news number one. Good news number two here, we got George Fant, limited on Wednesday. That's a very good sign. If he can push through this week of practice, I think we're getting him back. And say what you will, I'd rather have him out there than Stone Forsythe. I think he's a better player. I think that's a low bar to clear. Not that Stone Forsythe has played terrible so far, but we'll be better off with Fant. And that offensive line can start making progress on at least being a bottom 10 unit rather than a bottom 5 unit. So, good news here. Now, these other ones, I mean, Noah Fant limited again with the toe. Anyone else starting to get the sense he's just going to battle it the whole season and there's nothing we can do about it? Because I kind of am starting to get that sense, right? It's just starting to feel like Fant's going to be dealing with this toe injury for months at the minimum, if not the whole year. So, not great, but it is what it is. Tyler Lockett limited with a thigh injury. Again, I don't read anything into Lockett showing up on the injury report. He's probably going to be there all year, and I'm not worried about it. He's there when we need him, and I don't think it's going to cost him any playing time beyond what he would already be sitting out for. Like, he's already not a full-time player anymore. So, this could be just an excuse to give him practice time off more than anything else, which he can afford. If anybody on this team can afford to not practice, it's probably Tyler Lockett. Derek Hall with the hip injury. Hadn't heard about that one. And again, to my knowledge, he was in the game at the end. So it didn't happen in the middle of the game and take him out. Probably just a little ding. But again, you're limited on Wednesday. You would certainly expect to be fully ready to go by game day. So no sweat. Devin Witherspoon. A little bit of a surprise here. Hamstring injury. Didn't see anything in that game about this, but this is definitely going to worry some people because Witherspoon is a player who has battled injuries in his career already. He missed some time last year, and I think he had some issues with injuries in college. And he is a smaller guy, so you see him on even in something very insignificant like this, where he's limited on a Wednesday, which gives him basically a 98% chance of being able to play on Sunday. You still don't like it, right? You still don't like having 6 guys on this list because you know they're less than 100%. I mean, you like seeing Pharaoh Brown and George Fant because they're on the way back. But these other guys, you're just like, man, come on. In combination with what we have going on up here, it's starting to get a little bit rough. But that's your limited participation list. That's another 6 guys on top of the 9 guys who aren't practicing at all. Moving on. Got 3 guys down here in full participation. Laviska Shenault Jr. with the foot. Don't know what happened there, but he's good to go. Tyrell Dodson, full participation with a shoulder injury. That shoulder injury is from last week. So this is a sign that he's moving past it, if anything else. So I think we're good there. Jaron Reed with a knee injury. Excuse me. So nothing down here is really going to concern you. Maybe Jaron Reed, he's an older guy. But honestly, Jaron Reed's kind of at the point where I think you would strongly have to consider maybe not playing him. Or, not practicing him on Wednesdays anyway. So, I mean, it couldn't be something related to that more than anything else. But, yeah, this is like a third of the team, isn't it? This is pretty close to, this is right around 1/3 of the team showing up on the injury report on Wednesday. So, Let's cross our fingers for a much better report tomorrow, but this is currently what we're sitting on. Now let's take a look over on the other side of things, the Miami Dolphins. I got Travis Wingfield. He posted the report up a little bit ago. So let's go ahead and zoom in on the picture here and just kind of take a look at the information we need. Blown up on screen here. Okay, so the big ones. Well, the big one, really. Let's be real here. Teron Armstead. This is the one that people should be asking about, wondering about. The shoulder injury. Did not practice. I think he's not going to play, but we can't know for sure, right? They haven't said anything official yet. So Teron Armstead not practicing. If they don't have him, that offensive line goes from bad to worse. And I know you're thinking maybe it can't get too much worse if you're Miami, but it can. And if you don't have Armstead, it probably will. The only other DNP was Calais Campbell. He's just resting, though, so he's going to play. The great Calais Campbell, the immortal Calais Campbell, been around forever. Now, obviously, Tua is not listed here because Tua's been put on injured reserve, so he's out the next month. And they don't need to list him here because everybody knows that he's out for a month. So Tua, going to miss at least the next 4 games, which means we don't play him this weekend, which means there's nothing to think about there. And, I mean, hey, that's your quarterback. That's pretty much everything here. Other than that, Miami's injury report is not too bad. They have 2 big injuries, but the 2 injuries they have are so big, they override everything else, right? Like you've got Raheem Mostert, limited. Which Raheem Mostert is an important player to that team, but they've got Uchenna, I don't know how to pronounce it. I think it's Uchenna, but he's limited, so he should be fine to go by the game. Jalen Phillips, limited with the Achilles. He'll probably be fine to go by the time the game kicks off too. So while those are notable players, it looks like they're going to be ready for the game. Grant Dubois or Grant Dubose. I mean, I want to say Dubois because it sounds a million times better, but that's not how it's spelled. Shoulder injury limited, should be fine. Rob Jones, offensive lineman, shoulder, should be fine, limited. Malik Washington, remember him in the draft. Quadricep, limited. Jeff Wilson Jr., remember him from the Niners. Oblique, limited. So you figure all those guys are going to be good to go, pretty much. Or maybe one of them ends up backsliding tomorrow or Friday. Liam Eichenberg, shoulder injury, full, so nothing to worry about there. So Miami's injury report is pretty reasonable, pretty decent, but it's the pieces that they're missing are so big, the Jenga tower still kind of collapses, right? And then you look at the Seahawks injury report, yeah, it's long, but they still have their quarterback, and they still have their left tackle. Kind of feels like you'd still rather be us than them, especially when a lot of these players are likely going to work their way back. Okay, that's the latest and greatest from both teams. So let me know what you guys think. It's at the very least, I will say this, it was good to hear that McDonald did not rule Nwosu out this week, because last week on Wednesday he came out and just said Nwosu's not playing this week. Didn't say that this week. So therefore I think we can take from that there's a chance. And maybe we don't need him this week, maybe, but I don't want him to not play just for the sake of not playing. If he doesn't play, I want him to not play because he's actually hurt and can't play. All right, so see you guys later. Go Hawks. Maybe another video later today. More than likely, I'm going to just be on Twitch later, and there will be more videos tomorrow. All right, see you guys later. Go Hawks.